Edition of Prime Hour on my Media Prime, and an edition that is going to be looking at the situation wherein business persons, ladies and men, find themselves actively taking part in political activities. What are the benefits for those who venture into politics as business men and women, and what are the risks? How easy it is for such a persons to actually go through the political ventures that they have been in? For the case of those who are into politics today, we also are going to be revisiting those who were in politics and are not alive, looking at how politics was able to prosper or destroy their businesses. We are going to be discussing this with panelists who are in the house already. With me this evening, we have Prince Jeol who is a journalist who has been following up most of the activities of some business persons who also double as key political figures in the nation. Good evening, Jeol. We're glad to have you this evening.
Good evening to you, Ms. Alio. Good evening to my co-panelists. Good evening to all those who watch in my Media Prime this evening. Most particularly to those who watching in Misaje, the land of milk and honey. You did say it very much, Ms. Alio, that this evening we'll be looking at some of those big guns talking about business who joined politics, and of course, what became of them or what they are today. It's a privilege being once more on this panel, Mr. Alio.
We also are in the company of Mr. Ngaca, who was with us last week already. This is his second time on Prime. Good evening. We're glad to have you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Liu. Good evening to my co-panelists and to our televiewers, especially those in Lomson Quarter. The then Victoria that has become Limbe.
Okay, we are also preparing a very huge package for that quarter, Lomson Quarter in Limbe, the capital city of Fako division found in the southwest region of Cameroon. We also are in the company of Mr. Herman Mosinga, who has also practiced as a journalist and a keen observer of how things work out in Cameroon. Bonsoir, Monsieur Mosinga.
Bonsoir, bonsoir à tous les téléspectateurs. Good evening to all of you, all televiewers. I'm very happy to be here this night again.
And we are also going to be having Andrin Atemebako, who is a Pan-Africanist. He's going to be joining us through Skype from the United States of America. Mr. Andrin, we're glad to have you. You've been away for some time now. Apparently, he's not connected, and we hope that he gets connected to join our discussion tonight. I'll start with you, Prince Jeol Mokage. Are you always surprised to see economic operators actively taking part in political activities?
No, to say I'm surprised would not be the word, because politics is something that is open to everybody, irrespective of your field of experience or irrespective of your area of specialty. But those who are within the economic field, that is businessmen who've joined politics, the list is many. There are so many of them that have watched them within the political landscape. And one sad story about it, Mr. Leo, is that the end of most of these big political figures within the political landscape is many a time not juicy. Why? Because, and it's many a time for those who are maybe with the opposition. Okay, because once you join politics and maybe you're a very big businessman and say you want to tie with the opposition political party, at times it becomes very difficult. Certain conditions that are put before you, it makes it somehow very difficult for you to continue in business. And if you want to continue and progress in the business, then of course you want to join the ruling party. Many examples are there, Mr. Ali. I'll give you some of the names that I know. I know of the proprietor of Nancho in Bamenda. He was in politics, and the end wasn't too juicy. We also know of that even in the early 90s when the SDF came up. We remember that though it is debatable, we remember that people like Kaji came up and they they supported. But now, at the end, you discover that these people want to back out and they follow the ruling system. So, Mr. Leo, to say that I'm surprised, no, I'm not surprised. Rather, what makes me surprised is the fact that when you are a big businessman and you join politics, if you want to flow in the politics, then just join the party in power. Because if you're with the opposition, it becomes very difficult. And if you are not very tactical, and if you're not a good, if you don't have enough capital, you will agree with me that at one time we've seen big business people who've crumbled. There are certain names that I may not want to call, but we've seen persons who were flowing in business, who had lots of money and their business was moving. But at one time, once these people join politics, you start seeing them crumbling and you're asking yourself what is not going on well. So I think that in the course of, as we are progressing, Mr. Leo, I will bring up other examples of business persons who have joined politics and that the end wasn't so juicy.
Okay, Mr. Ngaca, he gives the impression that joining politics, especially within the ranks of the opposition, is not too good, that they are targeted, and we find those who are prospering because they identify with the opposition, they may get themselves kicked out of business. How easy is it for a business person to walk through the lines of the CPDM party, that's the party that is in power?
Mr. Liu, for me, it's not a matter of the CPDM. Politics in our own context is greed. It's greed. It's for their own interests. Politics in our own context, it's a matter of ego. That man is a politician, is a parliamentarian. Why I say parliamentarian when the party is going to rap? And then they say, no, actually I want to be a rap. You see, the other man says a senator. Say, when the council gets up, say, I want to be. We don't have, politics is the voice of the voiceless. Most of those people go into politics, they do it for their own personal interest. You will never find a businessman in Cameroon today doing politics on the opposition. If you want to stay beside your hotel, my papa fait politics ici. So in the course of this, we are going to develop how politics in our context has become greed. How politics in our context has become like political scammers for their own personal interests, not for the interests of the voiceless.
But are they at least protected as politicians if you decide to identify with the CPDM party?
The party, I've never seen a written letter by the party recommending a politician for economic benefits. But the umbrella they are carrying prevents rain from falling on them. You see a businessman coming at the customs, he say, no, ouais, monsieur le chef de bureau, ici, t'es sénateur, je suis en train de construire. Voilà, j'ai mes collègues qui viennent là. Vraiment, vous savez qu'on va en campagne dans bientôt. Mais je veux quelques avantages. Mais ouais, monsieur, on vous a donné à lever 20 millions. Ouais, chef, c'est dur. Parce qu'on doit financer les campagnes dans bientôt. What is the interest of that politics? That politics, they at the end of his scamming, he goes to the cartier and gives them 2 bags of rice and 1 carton of mackerel. That is his own campaign they have done. When the people eat and finish, what's the next news? He calls the telemedia, come and see me in Kuma prison, offering rice and mackerel to bags of salt. And you will see me in the next 10 years. So that's not politics. It's just a matter of greed. It's just to cramp on what, or to present their personal interests, what they have achieved. That is the politics in Cameroon. You know, because I was in Nigeria, I saw politicians. I don't say politicians in Cameroon compared to Nigeria. That's my reference. I was there for 6 months and I saw politicians in Nigeria. I've not seen politicians in Cameroon. They are not convicted politicians. They do all that for their personal interests. They say, non, j'ai protégé mon tapioca. As people say, non, celui qui vend les arachides, ou celui qui vend les œufs, ne doit pas lancer le caillou. So that is the politics in Cameroon.
Okay.
So in the course of the show, we are going to develop more and more ideas to see exactly what are the in-house and the outlets of those people doing politics in Cameroon. Yes,
I'm told Andrin Atemibako is connected. Good evening, Andrin. You've been away for some time. We're glad to have you once again on Prime Hour. We want you are reading of the way politicians have been influenced. Economic operators who are into politics have been influenced by either the politics positively or negatively. Okay, Andrew, told it's not there. Issues with network. We Herman Mosinga. La politique, est-ce que pour vous, c'est aussi, en tout cas, it's not there? It's there? Okay, it's not there. Yes, Herman Mosinga, we're talking about business persons who are into politicking. What should be the motive for a businessman to wanting to engage in politics?
Vous savez, quand on a l'habitude, ou alors quand j'écoute mes co-panélistes, j'ai l'impression qu'on a tendance à oublier une chose aussi importante. Juste au lendemain des indépendances des pays africains, nous avions des économies tellement précaires qu'à un moment donné, il fallait automatiquement nationaliser nos économies. Alors il fallait passer par quel chemin? Il fallait automatiquement que l'État essaye de fabriquer, parce que n'oublions pas, et disons-le de vive voix, que dans nos pays, ceux qui pratiquaient pratiquement des activités commerciales, ceux qui étaient des opérateurs économiques, des hommes d'affaires, n'étaient que des étrangers. Alors, il fallait automatiquement passer par la nationalisation des hommes d'affaires et des opérateurs économiques dans nos pays. Alors, ce qui a amené certainement, et on a connu dans les années 66, par exemple, en ce qui concerne le Cameroun particulièrement, on a connu une période où l'État a essayé de fabriquer ces hommes d'affaires, les Camerounais. Et bon nombre de la vieille génération ont été la fabrique de l'État. Et qui dit État, dit politique. Donc à un moment donné, ils ne pouvaient pas se défaire, se départir du costume de politicien, sauf que ils ont certainement péché parce qu'ils se sont impliqués entièrement pieds et mains liés dans la politique. Mais seulement n'oublions pas que c'est l'État qui a fabriqué des hommes d'affaires et des opérateurs économiques en leur donnant les moyens, question d'avoir une économie solide, nationalisée et écarter ceux qui étaient là comme des opérateurs, qui n'étaient pas des Africains de manière générale et des Camerounais en particulier. Donc on reconnaît, il faut quand même le reconnaître, on avait des Grecs, on avait des Libanais, tous qui étaient des hommes d'affaires au Cameroun. On comptait du bout de là, on n'en avait même pas à l'époque de l'indépendance. Donc il fallait nationaliser. Et moi je pense qu'aujourd'hui, retourner l'ascenseur, peut-être qu'ils ont un peu trop abusé de cette posture-là, d'être fabriqués par l'État. Et au moment de retourner l'ascenseur, ils en ont demandé un peu trop parce que beaucoup d'entre eux ont préféré aborder des tenues du parti au pouvoir, oubliant qu'ils ont la casquette des hommes d'affaires. Et peut-être c'est à ce niveau-là que le bas blesse.
C'est quand vous dites que l'État a fabriqué ces hommes d'affaires, comment oui. Est-ce que l'État les a fabriqués?
L'État les a fabriqués parce que, Léo, l'État, les deux lignes qui font tellement du bruit en ce moment-là, dont on entend parler, on parle d'Amugubelinga, mais c'est des lignes qui existent depuis des lustres, depuis l'époque d'Aïdjo. Il faut qu'on le dise aux Camerounais, que beaucoup d'hommes d'affaires, les Kadji et tout ça, tout le monde a puisé dans ces lignes. Il faut qu'on le dise aux Camerounais et qu'on soit honnête de le reconnaître et de le dire. L'État a fabriqué des hommes d'affaires parce que l'État a donné de l'argent à certains. Et ce n'est pas aujourd'hui. Il y a par exemple d'autres qui n'ont pas réussi, qui n'ont pas suivi la lignée de l'État, qui n'ont pas prospéré dans les affaires, mais qui ont eu des financements et qui les ont dilapidés à leur guise. On en connaît bon nombre. Mais depuis des lustres, l'État a voulu nationaliser son économie, son secteur d'activité privée, commerçants et autres. Et l'État a fabriqué les hommes d'affaires. Nul ne peut l'ignorer. C'est l'État qui a fabriqué les hommes d'affaires en octroyant des financements à ceux qui avaient déjà un sens des affaires, en leur donnant beaucoup d'argent et en leur donnant beaucoup d'activités.
Okay, I don't know, you're following what he's saying, that the state assisted, but when the state fabricates or assists your implantation and growth as a business person, can we also say that the state is imposing on these persons to militate with particular political parties, because it's not all of them who are into active politicking.
I don't understand the standpoint from which he's coming, but to say that the state has financed most of these business people would not be too true, because I know individuals who made their money, some of whom made it even out of Cameroon, came back to the country, invested, did lots of things, and at one time they felt that they should join politics. But at one time they also saw that they did not take the right road. Mr. Liu, my focus is the fact that
where I'm talking about the first of started of our state, Cameroun, après les années de l'indépendance. C'est-à-dire que nous n'avions pas d'hommes d'affaires au Cameroun outillés, et c'est l'État qui a financé, qui a fabriqué des hommes d'affaires dans ce pays, on le sait. Ça, c'est différent de ce que quelqu'un peut se permettre, ou alors quelqu'un a cherché son argent de ses propres poches et est rentré dans la politique. Ça, je voulais quand même apporter cette précision.
C'est pour dire que peut-être tu n'avais pas compris la question de M. Liu. Bon, what I'm saying, Mr. Liu, is I have watched individuals. I've seen young guys. I remember in my area, a young guy came in and militated for the UNDP political party and wanted to be parliamentarian. If I tell you what became of that young man and where he is today, you will not want to hear. And we are living in a country where if you are into politics and you do the worst thing to go to the opposition, there are lots of things that are going to come after you that if you're not strong financially. We know what became of some business gurus in the West region after the 2018 presidential elections. It became an open secret that some of these big economic operators in this region had financed a presidential candidate. And these people had to backpedal and go back where they were. So if you're doing politics in Cameroon, and you are a businessman, if you want to enjoy the different advantages, just like my elder brother said there, you want to enjoy advantages. I have seen people who have won contracts in council simply because they said, je suis le président de cette section, du RDP, c'est tel. Which means that he's a contractor, I'm a contractor. All of us are eligible for that contract. But now, he wins the contract because he has a ticket. Now imagine, so what do you go tell them? You want to go tell them that you see le président de section du SDF, Douala 4e ou Douala 5e. They already know that they will not give you the contract. And many a time, Mr. Liu, you know, money follows money. Money is something that it doubles. Most of the people who are flourishing in business today are people who have so many advantages. And for you to get these advantages, as of now, the party in power is a CPDM. You do not expect somebody who is within the ranks of the government to finance you, whereas you are off the other door. Which means that if you want to benefit, you need to toe the line. And even most of the people who have seen, who are flourishing in business, who give the impression that they are of the opposition, of course, we know that in real light, they are just brandishing, because there is always, you want to give a balance. You also want to say, okay, but if you say that for you to succeed, you must be of the government, the government also wants to tell you that that man is succeeding, but he's not with us. But in the real sense, you know that this guy, he is, in the afternoon, he's of the opposition, but in the evening, he's of the ruling power. So I feel that, Mr. Liu, for businessmen, those who are into politics, who are flourishing, are those who are in one way or the other within the corridors of power. Even during normal business trips, I've seen situations where people have succeeded even in competitive exams because they come from this particular group of place. So which means here, Mr. Liu, that if you want to succeed in business, from my own standpoint, from what I've observed, because I'm saying what I've observed, and like I said, it will not be too good to call names, because you can even call the name that I saw this person who was very big but fell because of politics, and the person says, no, it's not politics that brought me down. Which means that I saw it, but I've seen people who had huge money, lots of money, who crumbled overnight, because we're living in a country where somebody just needs just a phone call to say that, okay, this man that you see him doing like that, he is no longer with us, he's now this way. So
but what should be the motive for business? Because we are talking about business people who are into active politicking. When you say you want to join politics, what should be that motivation for you to wanting to join politics? Let's take the case of one of the richest guys, business guys in Nigeria who died. We have Moshood Abiola. He was very rich and got into politics. What should motivate you wanting to join politics?
No. Mr. Leo, politics is power. I know people who were very rich, or who are still very rich. They bought their way to be mayor, or to be parliamentarian, or to be senator. The reason is power. Why? Because just the fact that somebody enters an office and says, "Bonjour, c'est le député tel," the person already has his money, but feels that with the money, it is going to give him some constraints. It's true, with your money you can go and meet the governor's the governor's secretary and say, okay, je vais voir le gouverneur tel. But it takes time. But a parliamentarian simply just picks his phone or goes to the secretary of the governor and say, va dire au monsieur le gouverneur, if that is if at all he did not call, he tells him, va dire au monsieur le gouverneur que le député tel est. Dans 0 minutes, the governor brings you in. So I feel that, Mr. Leo, I'm talking about the context of Cameroon. In Nigeria, we have seen people who are flourishing. Of course, you will not tell me that Dangote belongs to this party or to that party. But he's making his money, he doesn't have a problem. But when you come within our context in Cameroon, I'm talking about Cameroon, if you have your money and you join politics, there are two things. One, either you join the ruling party and survive, and more money keeps pumping in, or you join the opposition and they suffocate you with taxes. Which means, like he said, somebody who is within the corridors of power needs to go to the port and just meet the Deja and say, okay, and within few minutes his container is out. But you are the opposition and you have even brandished it. And once you even get there, things become more complicated for you. So I just feel, Mr. Liu, that most of those we have within our country who have joined politics, businessmen, one reason, make their business prosper more. Two, to have tax holidays. They also want a situation where when you come as this is, they say, okay, it's 10, and the people go. So when we look at maybe say Nigeria and want to compare with Cameroon, we will not be, because Nigeria is federal, we are republic, we are two different people. We are not the same people. I gave you the example of the founder of Nacho and how he became. I even called people like Kaji, and from what I investigated and found out is, seemingly the first car, the first Prado that the chairman had, somebody offered, and that was Kaji. But no, you saw now that the end result progressively says, no, this is not the road. If you go even to go to like the noon, Mr. Liu, you know that most of the big guns are with the UDC. This is their thing they have embraced. The day you come with another political party in that area, they now not see you, because we're living in a country where, Mr. Liu, where once you and I are together, you are of this party and of this party, we are more of enemies. It's no longer...
Okay. I am told that Adrian Atemibako is on standby. Good evening, Adrian. We're glad to finally be connected to you. Your first reading of the situation between politicking and doing business in Cameroon.
Mr. Liu, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can hear you very well.
Yes, just go on.
Thank
please.
you very much. All right, thank you. You see, the first thing we have to understand is what is politics. It has to do with the affairs of a city, a state, a community, and how is a country being developed, or how do those citizens participate in order to develop their nation. It's under that structure called politics. Economy is another sector where it develops a nation. But politics is where it gives every citizen the right to express themselves and to participate in nation building, and to be able to develop communities based on how do I call it? Based on how do I put it? Based on one's expertise and one's opinion, and what people think is good for them and what they suggest can be good for their community. That's where politics comes to play, in order to give everybody the room to contribute and to participate in developing a community. So Politics must not be discussed under a political party. And when we talk about politics, we must not talk about having an opposition party or having a ruling party. No, it's a structure, or it is a body where citizens or people in a nation fit in, where their ideas are contributed and their ideas are taken into consideration in order to see what is best for the people of that community. So that is the way we need to look at politics. But when we look at politics as if we must have opposition parties, it's a way when we talk about elections. It's a way when we talk about voting leaders to power. Politics has nothing to do with only voting leaders to power, but it gives room for every nation or community where they can express themselves. That is how we should look at politics, number one. Now, when we talk about the ruling party, for example, and the opposition party, now when you look at the ruling party, it gives room where, to me, it shouldn't be a structure or organization or bodies where people should fight. Rather, it should be a constructive organization or body or parties where people contribute positive ideas, which is beneficiary and how will I call it, meet the needs of the society and the people. So it should be a forum or an organization where experts and great minds come together to merge ideas together and see how they can build a nation based on decision making, which also balances where economy now comes to place. But when we only look at it as CPDM, STF, and all those other parties, we are missing the point of politics. It is a way we must have probably contextualize it in Cameroon, but that is not really the essence of politics. So to me, if you look at Cameroon, and you look at what the head of state is doing in Cameroon, it's giving every Cameroonian the possibility to express themselves. How do you express yourself? Through those political structures. But to us today, we want to use it as opposition groups to either kick against what maybe the ruling party is doing or this other person is doing. That is not what politics is all about. It's all about nation building, ideas coming together and getting the best ideas which meet the demands and the needs of a community or a city. So if we look at it from this perspective, we will see that if we really want to appreciate politics, is to see how we can merge our ideas together, Mr. Leo, and see what best we can bring out of those ideas and how best it can be beneficiary to the community or to a people. Now, if you now look at politics and economy, if you do not have a good political atmosphere, you cannot have a good, you cannot have a stable economy, because it is that politics where it helps to stabilize, bring peace, maintain order, put law in place, and then put the structures which allows economy to flow. So economy comes behind, but politics must place first, because that is where the decisions are being taken. And so if we look at it from this context, and we look in the context of Cameroon, and we look at what, for example, the CPDM party, which when it was created, we know that it was then an organization of France. But today, the head of state has been able to turn that organization into an organization which is speaking for the Cameroonians. So we shouldn't look at this issue of having to oppose, talking about politics under political party, because today in Cameroon it's almost becoming a business where, I mean, that is where people go to negotiate, you know, better deals because they have political party and they manage the control population. But we shouldn't look at politics from that perspective. I think that as Cameroonians, I think that we have been doing our very best, because as a matter of fact, we have been able to, as Cameroonians, we've been able to build Cameroon economic-wise and political-wise. Today in Cameroon, how many TV stations do we have? How many TV stations do we have that we have been given the right to express ourselves? And all of these opinions are being gathered under this political banner to see how they can meet the needs of our society. So I think that even if we want to compare Cameroon in politics and in economy in different countries, I think that we have done so well as Cameroonians. So in the area of economy, if you are a businessman, for example, and you get involved in politics and you take the opposite side where you call the opposition party, who are you opposing? As a matter of fact, because when you talk about the ruling party, we assume that that is a party that is taking decision on the behalf of everybody. And to be really, really honest, if we want to face critical facts and realities and examples on ground, is that ruling party, we know no party is perfect and nobody is perfect, but I want to think also that That party has made a lot of contribution in this country, where today in the entire Africa, Cameroon is one of the most countries that has self-expression, self-determination, where the people can even insult their presidents and there's no problem. But you won't find that in many other places. So I think that we've really gone far in terms of politics. We've also gone far in terms of economy. So the idea for me, where we want to consider political parties as parties where we can sit and oppose better ideas, we can sit and oppose, competent decisions, and in the name of political parties, or in the name of having to share opinions, which, as a matter of fact, it only brings disorder. We should not look at politics in this affair. We should look at politics where Cameroon today has become a ground where it...
Okay, Andrin, we are going to be coming back to you.
Our own context. In our own context is, I will call it a political weapon. Politics, a political weapon. It is very obvious for those who are rich to always find themselves intimidated, influenced by the politicians. You want to preserve what you have acquired. In front of you, policies will tell that no, you are no. If you joke, we will withdraw what we are giving to you. In our country, where the state and the party is one. The state and the party is one. There will always be that tendency where you always have intimidation, threats from the governing body if you don't do what they want from you.
Yeah, but these threats may be coming from unscrupulous government officials. I'm not sure. It's a government policy.
That is. Thank you very much. I want to come on that point. I was reading something today, very, very important. It's what you are saying, and I thought of it, and I was asking myself, do we have political scammers in the government? Or in the 1999, 2000, I remember very well, it was a very painful moment in my life, because I had a friend of mine who was in politics, who was a businessman, he was a living witness in the whole issue.
Mm. So politicians themselves who were into business...
Merengue was a parliamentarian.
Okay.
It was a big importer of fish. He was a parliamentarian. Fuso Vito had fiscal. He was a big man at that time. He was not an ordinary Cameroonian. But all of them, they were lined up. Alignez-vous tous. Chacun doit payer les pénalités. There was no exception. And between that 1999 to 2008, most of those importers collapsed because they didn't have the support of the government. Most of them collapsed. I mean, so all of them they don't exist today. Go Fishy, Patience, Go Fisco, Passoir Populaire, most of them today are dead. They collapsed because of that custom litigation. Out of bribery, pain, fines, and the rest, they could not stand up. And most of them just went to the bush. I remember at that time, that man, one day he came to my house and told me, okay, let's go and see one of my beloved late mother I used to admire her so much, Monafoni, may her soul rest in peace, who was a political wagon in the CPJ, and who took up herself and took the matter to Yaoundé. At the level of the committee, secretariat general of that is an importer, it's a big man financing the party, Hakana is collapsing and the party could not help it. The owner of this big bank is not a secret. People knows here the bank, Afila Bank, nobody knows him. But I think at his level, he could have been one of those persons in front, singing the names and all the glorious to the party. He's a businessman with a lot of billions of turnovers. Have you ever heard his name somewhere? So for those who are involved, they know what they are pulling out. For those who come in, because most people come in without anything. They come in now, inside their politics, they become business operators. They will come, go to your village, then go and fill bridges, and then come to say, okay, well, Mr. Misa, in my village there is no bridge. Then who is the person by to do the work? Is he himself, under a borrowed name. And then in the end, he comes, he goes and takes his money. In the end, the only thing we'll do next is that the next 1 year will come with makero, and then salt and rice, and distribute to villagers. Then the money that the contract he took, he never finished the contract. We have a lot of contracts like that, and most of these people have made a lot of money, like those unscrupulous parliamentarians that I call the political scammers. So they come in out of nothing. They didn't come in like businessmen. They came in as politicians. But in the course of that journey, because all of us we are traveling, we are all traveling. We don't know we are traveling. We don't know when we are going to the end of our trip, but we are all traveling somewhere. And I don't know what's her benefit. She exports her cocoa. She even helps the government. She brings in foreign currencies to reevaluate our economy. Those are people who deserve to be encouraged by the government out of what she does. But you tell someone say, elle fait le commerce, elle fait buy and sell. She doesn't do buy and sell. Those detractors will say non, elle fait le commerce, elle fait le buy and sell, elle achète les cacao, elle exporte. Il n'y a pas de valeur ajoutée. But those are the people who need to be encouraged. But at the end, what does she earn?
Okay. Monsieur Mosinga, he is saying that so many persons are into it, and he's giving the examples of people who are even within the CPDM party, but that decisions were taken for them to get sanctioned for not respecting the financial laws of the nation. We have seen so many business persons who are militating within the CPDM themselves not being covered by the party. So what is the essence? Are we concluding that they got into politics simply because they wanted to bring a change in their respective communities and not necessarily to gain out of the party?
Moi, je pense que, à un moment, il y en a également qui ont excellé par leurs propres moyens, qui n'ont pas bénéficié de la couverture de l'État et qui excellent. Mais ceux-là aujourd'hui, parce que, voilà pourquoi j'ai toujours l'habitude de dire que c'est un problème avec cette façon de formater que l'Africain a reçu. Parce que, en fait, c'est quoi la vision de l'Africain aujourd'hui? C'est que quand on a plus d'argent, ce à quoi on aspire, c'est le pouvoir. Et pourtant, c'est un tort. C'est un grand tort. Quand on a de l'argent aujourd'hui en Afrique et dans nos pays, particulièrement au Cameroun aujourd'hui, ce à quoi on aspire, c'est le pouvoir. Et le pouvoir passe par la politique. Et parfois, on est obligé, on oublie même qu'on est un opérateur économique, on est un homme d'affaires, on rentre dans la politique qui, à un moment donné même, nous réduit au néant. Parce qu'il faut aussi dire qu'il y a des hommes politiques, des hommes d'affaires, que la politique...
Un cousin là, où qu'il a fait quoi, qu'il a volé. That was the power of those people now doing the politics in the village, their various villages. Where they will see like that, people come in and you put them in the center and then hear it to their problem. Just the same case like late Madame Foni. She was like a grassroots politician. She will spend all her time in the morning from 6 o'clock. You go to her house at one point, you will find women sitting like that all over. You will come out of the bathroom without even bathing. Ouais, c'est quoi, Jacques? Ouais, maman, on a pris, le sous-préfet de comité a pris mes œufs hier. Ah non, donne-moi mon téléphone. Ouais, on a pris, ouais. Et vous, c'est quoi? On a cassé le kiosque au marché Bonamoussa, c'est combien? 300 000 chevaux. On will give it. And then aussi Joseph, in Pidgin. D'ailleurs, là, dans mon finish. So, where do you get the...
He's not only helping the country, but he's helping people. Because if you go to see him, that okay, honorable, I came because of this, he does everything possible to ensure that at least, because of course you cannot satisfy every human being, but he does something at least to ensure that you go home smiling. I give you another example. Look at a young man like Ngaca. This is a young man who already had his money. He's now into politics again at the level of the National Assembly, and you've seen what he's doing. You look at a young lady like Noran. This is a lady who was into business. She has the Norishka. She already had before being parliament. If you say someone, for instance, was a parliamentarian, let me give the things approaching. You hear how much someone like that supports campaign. It's money that can feed